What is going on, Locks Mob? I cannot tell you guys how good it feels to say that. I missed making these hockey videos for you guys. I haven't made one in like 5 days because I don't make them over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off for NHL this week. It's crazy, man. Every time this little Christmas break comes around for hockey every season, it just feels so much longer than it really is. But it's only 3 days, so it's really not the worst. But I mean, I'm so excited to be back, and we have an awesome slate on tap, so I'm going to jump right into that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, @ReallyAddy, that's where you can go ahead and ask me your questions or just follow me and see what I have to say. But yeah, let's get right into this. So like I said, we got a 13-game slate, a bunch of high team totals, a bunch of stars, a bunch of sleepers on this slate. But since it is a 13-game slate, I'm just going to do sort of a positional breakdown, go over a few of my favorite plays at each position, and then we'll get out of here. We'll keep it short. Starting at the top, sort of like 7-5 and up. My favorite of all these options, Connor McDavid. As always, anytime Connor McDavid's at home, he's always my favorite stud. Just a guy who he's giving you the minute upside that you're getting. You're getting the most secure minute upside out of almost all of these guys because you know he's going to skate a minimum of 22 to 23 minutes with upside for 25, 26. He's got an awesome matchup versus Vancouver, a team that's bottom 10 in the league in expected goals against per 60. And he's also got new line mates, which I should get into real quick for you guys. If I pull up the Oilers right here, McDavid is now skating with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Jesse Puljujarvi at 5v5. Puljujarvi is not on the first team power play. That remains the same. Nugent-Hopkins does correlate with McDavid on the first team power play. And I like McDavid skating with Nugent-Hopkins. He skated with Nugent-Hopkins a couple years ago, and they were really, really good together. Nugent-Hopkins is a guy who's fantasy relevant himself, with or without McDavid. But as we know, anyone skating with McDavid gets such a crazy boost that it's rarely reflected in their prices. I'll get into Nugent-Hopkins later, but McDavid on DraftKings, I love him if you can afford him. He's definitely my favorite high-priced option. If we come into the mid-range, or sort of like the high mid-range, 6K and above, my favorite option around here is Evgeny Malkin. I mean, he's seen a price decrease of almost over $1,000 from when the season started. And now he's got an awesome matchup versus Detroit, a team that is in the bottom 6 in expected goals against, I believe. Pittsburgh's projected they open at 3.7, received 72% of the bets, and now their team total has risen to 3.8. So a lot of love on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home. We've got Evgeny Malkin back skating with Phil Kessel on that second line. First power play correlation with those guys. And they're both really, really cheap on DraftKings. So both of them are awesome plays over here. And yeah, seeing Evgeny Malkin priced below guys like Monahan or even like, Kuznetsov, who doesn't shoot that much or as much as Evgeny does. So it's interesting to see that. So I definitely like that price. He should definitely be up around here, sort of in the Braden Point to Mark Scheifele range. But let's keep scrolling down a little bit. So if we keep going, I like Joe Pavelski here at 5.5K as well. Very good play, playing on that first line with Evander Kane. I like San Jose in this matchup versus Anaheim. Anaheim, another team that really struggles defensively, bottom 10 in the league in expected goals against. I believe bottom 3 actually, but they're slowly improving as they get healthier, but they're still a little banged up defensively. So I like this San Jose value that you're getting. And then finally, the last guy, William Karlsson at 5K. A guy that doesn't really shoot the puck too much, but the big news on William Karlsson is, I think I talked about this on a previous video, but as we know, he does skate on that first line, which has changed a bit, but he gets that first team power play role now. It used to be Max Pacioretty on here, and Max Pacioretty will probably skate, so these lines may switch up, so I'm not going to go too deep on him, but what they are now, I like this, so... But in William Karlsson, I'm going to anticipate that he's going to remain on that first power play role because even when Pacioretty was healthy, they had bumped Riley Smith off of it to make room for William Karlsson. They switched that back and forth. It was Karlsson to start the season, then Smith, then went back to Karlsson. I think even if Pacioretty's in, we probably see a net front William Karlsson on the power play one. So I really like that for 5K as well. Just know he's not really going to shoot the puck too much, so you are hoping for some assists, but he's skating with two really talented high shot guys who I really like on DraftKings as well. Anyways, let's move on to winger. So at wing, in the high price range, honestly, not overly high on too many of these guys. I think there's a ton of value in like the mid tier in winger. But if I were to pay up here, I really like Kucherov at 7.7K. Tampa's got the highest team total of the slate, sitting at 4, going up against a Philly team that we know is just super defensively inept, especially on the road. So Tampa should smash by all accounts. But like I said, if you can afford Kucherov, awesome play. I think I'd rather pay up for McDavid and kind of come down at this winger spot. But again, if you want to pay up, if you got the money for it, Kucherov's a smash. Anyways, let's scroll down to the range that I kind of like, because it's sort of, if we go 6'5" and down, is where it really starts to get juicy as far as value goes. Blake Wheeler and Patrick Laine, I'll sort of group both of them together because they're both severely underpriced at 6'5" and 6'2". Sort of reminds me of earlier in the season. For those of y'all who were around back then, we made a lot of money riding these Winnipeg prices until they got bumped up. Calgary's not a defensive team that we fear, especially on the road. And Winnipeg projected for a healthy, I think, 3.5 goals, which is one of the highest team totals on the slate, probably in the top 3. So definitely want some Winnipeg exposure. And getting them, I don't know why DraftKings lowered their prices, but getting these prices on these guys is awesome. If we scroll down a little farther, I talked about Phil Kessel. Everything I mentioned with Evgeny Malkin sort of correlates to Phil Kessel. Same line, same power play. So you can stack them up. You can roll with them individually, either or. I really, really like this price on Vladimir Tarasenko, 5.9K. Essentially what you're looking for at winger or any position in DFS, you're looking for guys who shoot the puck. If they're underpriced, it's all the better. And Vladimir Tarasenko crosses both of those. He's very underpriced, and he's one of the league's highest rate shooters and has been for the past 3 years. There's some positive line movement on St. Louis's money line. They've received 42% of the bets. They've risen from -118 to -130. It's a little bit of sharp line movement in their favor. As we see, St. Louis's team total has jumped from 3.1 to 3.2 projected goals. So nice little bump early in the morning. Anyways, if we keep scrolling, Alex Tuck kind of got a price hike on DK with the anticipated role on the first line. As did I didn't mention him, but as did Nugent Hopkins. He got a price hike and a position switch over to winger, which all makes sense, but maybe a little bit priced out of my range on FanDuel. On DraftKings, very affordable on FanDuel. But he's definitely still in play on DraftKings. I just think I prefer Blake Wheeler a little bit more for the exact same price. But if we keep scrolling down, Jonathan Marchessault at 5.7K is again one of the league's highest rate shooters. I believe the second highest rate shooter, or maybe actually the first highest rate shooter on Vegas. I think Alex Tuck dropped a little bit since his hot start. But Marchessault chucks the puck at the net, especially at home. And Colorado, again, not a team that we really fear defensively on the road. I think we're going to be able to see Vegas match up this Marchessault first line versus a lot of those depth lines in Colorado, the third, fourth lines. And I really think they could put up quite a few goals, that line, and that team in general. So really like that. And then the last guy I'm really going to talk about, if we keep coming farther down, I told you guys I was high on San Jose. So to see Tomas Hertl at 5.2K is definitely something I kind of want to take advantage of. If I just go show you the San Jose lines real quick, we see Hertl is skating on this second line, which is really the first line. It may not load. There it is. This is really the first line. It shows as the second line for whatever reason. But Couture, Hertl, and Meyer. I watch a lot of Sharks hockey because they're usually like the nightcap. So I usually watch it while I'm like laying in bed or something. And they really prioritize this line over the Pavelski line. So I really like to get more exposure to that Couture line. And getting it with Hertl at 5.2K is just awesome exposure. And it's even better that he skates on that first team power play as well. So really like that price on him on both sites as well. He's really, really cheap on FanDuel as well. Moving on to defense, though, at the high price, anytime Brent Burns isn't going to be the highest priced defender on the slate, he's probably good value. And again, he is. 6.3K is way too cheap for Brent Burns, especially with the fact that Erik Karlsson is serving the second game of his suspension today. So he will be out for this game. So that just increases Brent Burns' minute floor, expected offensive output as far as what he's going to be asked to do, especially from the blue line. So Brent Burns at 6.3K. I think there's enough value to be able to pay up at defense, pay up for McDavid, and pay up for some of those mid to high price 5.5 and up K wingers. I think you could fit some of that in. Of course, that value will all be listed on the cheat sheet for our members at locksdfs.com, which if you haven't signed up for yet, you should probably just do that. Anyway, so Brent Burns, love him. And then if we keep scrolling down a little bit, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, for all the same reasons, he's sitting at 4K. He was cheaper last slate when Carlson was out. He's got a little bit of a price bump because he picked up 2 assists in that game. He's much cheaper on FanDuel. But 4K is still a very affordable price for Vlasic. He was a defender who, without Carlson, was typically priced in like the 4.4, 4.5 range. He's going to be asked to do more offensively. He gets a bump to that second team power play, which is still a super talented power play unit with Evander Kane, Joe Thornton, and Timo Meyer. So really like him, and I don't think you can. I don't think you should feel bad about double stacking San Jose centers if you want, or San Jose defensemen if you want to. I think that's a totally viable strategy. Just now, actually looking at this, I missed this when I was like going through this slate earlier. But Provorov at 3.9K is incredibly cheap. This is a guy who has been skating so many minutes for Philly. Like, we see him hit 29, 27, 25, pretty consistently a 25-minute guy. So getting him at 3.9K, I mean, you can just see what his price was before the break. He was 4.9K. So he dropped a full 1,000. He is in a tough road matchup versus Tampa Bay, but he's in a fine spot to block a couple shots, put a couple shots on net. And for 3.9K, he gives you a really, really good floor. But yeah, so let's move on to goalie. Goalie, we're not going to talk too much about it. I'll go to starting goalies on Daily Faceoff. We can see who's in net. Braden Holtby, probably my top overall option, just because we know how much Carolina shoots the puck. They had, I believe, I sent out a tweet about it like 2 weeks ago. I think they had 12 or 14 guys. I think it was 14 guys with an iCourse 4 per 60 over 12. So they just, like, their whole game plan is just throw the puck at the net. They lead the league in shots on goal. But not a lot of them are from high danger chances. So, like, I definitely like Braden Holtby to see a ton of shots. Andy is a pretty big favorite, so just a good play there. But again, you can go with any of these favorites. Go with the Tampa goalie, go with the Nashville goalie, go with the Edmonton goalie, go with Marc-Andre Fleury. Basically, whoever that when you look at your team, after you break it down, you see who you got a lot of exposure to, what teams you really like, and just play the goalie for that team because you're expecting your players to do well, which would hopefully result in your goalie getting a win. So just do that. You should be okay with goalie. I mean, it's a pretty gross position all around. But yeah, guys, with that being said, thank you so much for finding your way back to this video. I will be making one again tomorrow and then again on Monday, so we'll get right back into it now that hockey's back. I hope you guys have a really, really profitable slate. And again, if you do enjoy this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe below. We're still running that giveaway that we are always running. Basically free NBA, NHL, or NFL season pass to anyone who really just likes, comments something. Comment your favorite hockey player, what you like about this video, or what you want to see in future videos. And then make sure you're subscribed, and we will go through and pick a winner on Monday. But yeah, thanks for checking this video, guys. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace.